Good morning and welcome back to Lucky Duck Bricks. We are here on January 15th, taking a look at all of this. I did some more thinking, a dangerous pastime I know, yesterday, and just in yesterday, the day before, whatever, on the whole arrangement of things. I was talking to my father-in-law, who is very handy and has a shop full of tools with which we could build the row of sliding units, and my thinking kept coming back to, they're going to stick out 4 or 5 inches past these sterilites. What if, my assumption was we can't move these because they're so big and they're full of parts, so how would we get that into all those drawers and just immediately take up the space and probably a little bit more somehow or whatever. And it's not like these drawers are even used all that efficiently. I mean, there's gaps because bags are bags and the way that they occupy space. But anyhow, so that was my thought. I was like, are these drawers actually being used efficiently? Should we filter them down otherwise? So I was thinking about that. I was thinking about how to approach this situation. I'm like, well, what about if we stacked these? How high can we stack them? And if you've used these, you know that if you get too crazy, that they can start to bow a little bit. So there's a limit. But I was thinking we could stack probably 2 of them. So, 6 drawers in the column kind of thing. And that would work in this space. So we would have these 4 where they are, could be where the 2 stacks go. It would technically be a little bit skinnier because 2 of these are slightly bigger than 1 of the wides. It's not a perfect comparison. So put the row of them, or the 2 of them, and they would stack up 4 feet tall. They'd stack up to 4 feet tall or so, which is about my shoulder height, a little bit smaller. And that would give us another shelf, or maybe a couple shelves that we could do in this area. That was a Jenny. And then we reuse these acro, and we make all of those rolling things floor length, which would pick up an additional 2 times 16 because it would be another 2 units underneath. So we're looking at, another 32 units being able to fit in this space. So that's pretty good. We'd have to deal with these bins, which isn't the end of the world. They would have to go somewhere differently. The instruction boxes would have to go somewhere else, which could be here. These sterilites would then come over here. And this has long been kind of a dead area that I'm not thrilled with. I mean, I need to go through these parts. Some of it's based off of, new Hashima Mach that I'm going to keep my cube around, but I have lots of leftovers from building it, from aspiring to build other things like this elevator that never went anywhere. The artwork can easily go here or in the staircase, which has other artwork. So there's places it can go. The cart would be either where it is or I might get rid of it. I'm still debating on that. But essentially, this is dead space. This is unused area that can be used for the store. Yes, there's the art, but the art can move. So we take those sterilites and we stack them additionally higher. There's 1, 2, 3 here. They could be put, we get rid of this table, push those against the wall because they're limited by the legs of the table, and push those against the wall. We could put a 4th here. So that gives us 4 in a row. And I have 5 here. So subtract the 1 to make the extra row, and then another 4. We got a double stack. And that brings us up to, that same 4-foot height. We could have a shelf there or a couple shelves here, however we want to do it. And then the only thing that's not being used from all that is this random sterilite 6 drawer here, which those parts could be filtered into something else. It's whatever. I had it and used it kind of thing. But yeah, I'm thinking that's the trajectory for the store. It'll take months for this to happen because I only have so much time to put into all of this. I've got the day job that I've been working on. It's 5:20 or whatever right now, and I've been down here since I woke up early. So I've been down here since about 3:45. Yippee! Working on stuff, and that's what ultimately pays the bills right now. But as I'm looking to build the Lego store and transition and increase it, I'm hoping to help that have a greater share of how much I support my family. So yeah, that's where I'm thinking, of shifting everything around. So I think the first steps in that process, kind of like, you have to clear the drying rack of all the clean dishes before you can empty the dishwasher and put any of the wet ones on there, or wash the dishes and put them on the drying rack. So you have to move things in order, especially for the sake of time. I don't have the ability to just throw all these out in another room and then build those sliding units. I need to be able to clear spaces first. So I think taking care of this table is going to be the first step in that journey, which realistically is basically just a lot of, I need to part this out and put it down into my Technic bin and other bits. Tear this down and put it back in the Technic bin. Stuff like that. So I think that'll be the course of action to be able to start moving towards the new layout. So hope to get started on some of this today. I do want to kind of get through the rest of the minifigs from that eBay haul, which includes some of those. They're on the cart, so I'm less concerned about it. I really need to get this bin out of here, and there's a lot of used parts in there too, but that bin takes up a lot of space, and it's just been sitting there for a while. So it's either going to be move the stuff off of it, blitz through the bin, or put it in the storage for a bit until I have a chance to get to it. But yeah, that's where we're headed. After I posted my video yesterday, assuming that this goes up today on the 15th, I talked about the track and all of that, and some people commented about concerns with the weight of it all, and the a link to another video where someone had done yes, I have a lollipop. It's a Tootsie Roll Pop. They're pretty tasty. They had done rolling casters, and their units were probably about 3 to 4 feet tall, maybe 4. So it'd be a matter of if I go up to 4 stack or a 5 stack. But the idea would be having a single sheet of plywood, or in their case, they use a wood frame, but I like the idea of a single sheet of plywood, and then acro units on the front and back of it, and they would roll around on casters. So having 8 of those with the front and back, so that you have the same amount of acro, significantly less work as far as the plywood goes, as far as you don't have to have any kind of track or anything into the walls or the ceiling, no screws, no permanent things, nothing blocking the lights, no weight concerns, except make sure the casters are strong enough. So when I did the math out on how much all of these be hanging, it could be upwards of 2,500 to 3,000 pounds if they were all fully maxed of Lego. The likelihood of that is low, but still, we're talking, maybe 1,000 pounds, 2,000 pounds when it gets all full. So that was, that's a serious safety issue, even though there's a concrete wall on this side and such. I'd still have to, screw it in. There's a regular wall here with just 2x4 studs. But that's, 1,500 pounds here, 1,500 pounds there, more so when it's all closed up, all on this side. So having to get, some kind of mounting system on this side that would be enough for the 6 or 7 studs it would screw into, or somehow go back another 4 inches into the concrete. It was just a lot of complicated things. And so the commenter, who is AINQ3347, they talked about having instead the rolling on the casters with back and front. They shared a video, which you can find in the comments, where it talks about it was someone that did it for their Lego. Sorry, this guy is just his sleep patterns are just so extra, so diva-like. But yeah, so then the main concern or trying to figure out is, do I go up 5 tall, which with casters on the bottom is going to be approximately 7 feet? And if so, do I need to put like a weight on the bottom of each of them so that they're not going to be less likely to tip over? Because I mean, while this thing is not constructed in the most, great of ways, it's decently wobbly, and it doesn't even have that much weight on it, and it's only about half, or a little more than half the height of how far I need to go. And 2 acro with plywood is only an inch wider than this. It's like 13.5 inches. So 2 inches wider, which realistically is not that much. So trying to figure that out in a way that is safe, that would not be prone to being tipped over, which, I mean, even this thing doesn't really want to tip over. So it might not be as much of a concern as I'm thinking, especially if we put, yeah, that doesn't want to tip over. It's wobbly, but it doesn't want to tip over. It does have a lower floor base than a bigger thing would have, because the bigger casters stand up taller. But I don't know, I might be overthinking that worry. But yeah, I was thinking about having 2 fixed casters in the front and then swivel casters in the back. So I could roll it over to my desk, but then the back and forth motion would be relatively, stable here. And it would slide out more. Well, I'd probably want it to turn. So the swivel caster should be on this side, so then it could come out and turn. And then the in and out motion, the swiveling would happen more on the outside of things rather than deep inside there where it might bump up against each other. Yeah, the stuff I'm trying to think through as we go about this. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good option for a way to do it in a much more minimal way, much safer, much less extra going on. Then it's just a matter of if I do 4 or 5. If I do 4s, then I don't have to move any of my shelves, but I kind of want to go up and take up the space for the sake of the store and the stuff I need. That shelf would obviously have to bump up to the same height, which I can easily do. I couldn't remember if there was an overlap of the back or whatever. But yeah, that shelf could go up all along and just be flush with that. And then that would give me 4, because I had to go to the lower ones because there's a dip, and I think the floor comes up a little bit, so it wouldn't fit a full size between the shelf and there. But yeah, anyhow, so I think that's gonna be the way to go. So I just got to find casters that will work, that will do what we want. Maybe make a prototype and see how well it does for not banging around. See if we need to put extra weight on the underside of it, which the weight would need to be, a foot across at max, basically. So probably not a full 45 plate, but even a 25 might work. I can't remember how big those are. Whatever. All things to look into and consider as we move forward. But I think that's going to be the safer way to do it, the cheaper way to do it, because all that track and everything would have been a lot. And yeah, just a more efficient and effective way. So thank you so much for those comments and suggestions and concerns about the weight and everything. It made me stop a little bit, think about that a little bit more, and I appreciate that a lot. That's part of the reason why I posted it, was just to be able to get thoughts out there, to work through it in my mind, and also have input from others. So I very much appreciate everyone commenting and helping to work through this.